Chapter 100. The Wheel of Fortune turns, seeing the new becomes the old. Tranquil Peak. 10,000 majestic mountains stood tall, shrouded in immortal fog. The mountain stone steps trodden over the years by countless disciples were still neatly arranged. Ordinary people, with cautious hands on the rocky path, did not dare to gaze downward, fearing to fall into the bottomless abyss of the mountain. They stared in awe at the immortal-like scene before them. White cranes streaking swiftly across the sky carried numerous disciples, seemingly gathering quickly for some affair. One could also spot a disciple clad in azure robes soaring through the sky on his sword. Everyone ascending the mountain was filled with envy towards these sect disciples, silently vowing in their hearts that they would strive to become as outstanding as them. At this moment, Han Yi flew on his sword, streaking like a red beam of light hanging above the tranquil peak. Gazing upon the scene before him, memories began to fade in and out of his mind. His eyes were unintentionally filled with complex emotions. Seeing these people climbing the mountain, he seemed to see himself when he had just joined the sect. That look of admiration was exactly the same as his back then. The younger Han Yi, who had just entered the sect, was also full of anticipation and determination for the path of immortality. Han Yi sighed. Indeed, this is the cyclical nature of life. Seeing newcomers turn into old-timers, let's see what task the elders will assign to me first. After his thoughts wandered for a while, he quickly pulled himself back to reality and flew in the direction of the assessment hall on Tranquil Peak. The originally spacious assessment hall was now overcrowded. After Han Yi touched down, he jumped over the crowd to the back of the Great Hall. He saw the elder responsible for internal duties distributing tasks. He bowed his fist and said, "Elder Guo, I'm here. What are your instructions?" Seeing that Han Yi had arrived, Elder Guo stroked his beard and laughed. "You're here just in time. The first part of the entrance examination, the spiritual root test, is currently underway. After a while, you will be responsible for maintaining order during the second part of the examination. You will need to stay in the forest full of exotic beasts and ensure the safety of those who give up before reaching the end point. No purple bamboo forest or empt. Wendao for this year's entrance examination?" Han Yi, hearing this, asked curiously. Elder Guo shook his head. The contents of the entrance examination cannot be the same every year. Otherwise, once there's an examination method, there will be strategies to counteract it. Won't it be a mess then? Your year had 3 parts, plus the trial at Empt. Wendao in the end. This was the most difficult year since, in previous years, there were only 2 parts, and not so many disciples were being recruited. Han Yi understood after hearing this. It was indeed keeping up with the times. The contents of each examination would change. Why was the year when he took the test designed to be so difficult? However, he did not have the time to ponder this any longer. He headed to the back hall to receive an order token as proof of being one of the assessment officers this time. Only those who could enter the assessment venue were allowed, no one else otherwise. Other disciples would not be allowed to enter the assessment venue and influence the outcome of the examination. Chen Jiru, gold, wood, and water triple spirit roots, pass. Under the mountain full of misty fog and spiritual key, a sect elder was conducting the first part of the examination with a jade slip in hand. As soon as eligible people appeared, their names would be recorded, and then they would proceed to the examination hall to prepare for the second part of the examination. This included disciples from noble families across various provinces, wealthy families' daughters, as well as royalties. When it comes to joining the Dragon Sparrow sect, everyone was equal. Those with qualifications were allowed to enter. Spiritual roots are the first bottleneck on the road to immortality. If one's spiritual root is not strong enough, no matter how many resources they possess, it would be in vain. The first part of the examination is to test the spiritual root. Everyone, come forward in turn, drop your blood onto the root bone stone. If you lack confidence, return on your own and do not disrupt the order. The presiding elder looked at the new group of ordinary people climbing the mountain, his eyes flat as he recited the instruction. Han Yi stood next to the elder, crossing his arms and standing tall, with a stern expression watching the queue slowly moving forward. 3 years ago, he was one of those people. Today, he had become an examiner. Nobody left the scene. Everybody had expended a lot of effort to get to this point. How could they give up because of just one sentence? Dual spiritual roots. Very good. Pass. Single spirit root. Excellent. Barring any surprises, if you don't run into any problems in the following sections, you should easily pass. Dragon Sparrow Sect welcomes you. 5 mixed spirit roots. Please turn around and leave. Han Yi stood silently, watching the person with a face of disappointment leaving. He sighed softly within. Every year there were always those who joyfully joined the sect and others who left disappointed. It was to be expected, and he should accept it as a norm. What? A mutant spiritual root is spirit root. How rare, it's actually an ice spirit root. Suddenly, a shout of surprise came from the crowd, which piqued Han Ye's attention. He looked towards the front of the root bone stone and saw a woman in a simple blue dress with clean, wholesome features. She had a hairpin in her hair simply tied up in a ponytail. Revealing ears as white as jade, her blouse was puffed out, and on her face, as smooth as tofu and white as jade, were a pair of vibrant peach blossom eyes. Ice spirit root, kind of like the heavenly spirit root a few years ago. They might actually be able to compete. The presiding elder was pleased with the woman who gave off good potential and nodded approvingly. With your potential, even if you can't pass the next section, an elder will still take you as a disciple. Go ahead. The wholesome-looking woman respectfully bowed. Thank you, elder. Her voice was sweet and pleasant with a pure aura that engulfed the room, catching the eyes of many men. As the wholesome-looking woman passed by Han Yi, she noticed his inner sect disciple outfit and gave him a friendly nod. Han Yi nodded back, illustrating indifference. However, he couldn't help but notice the noble ladylike elegance from the woman, indeed easy to evoke fondness. Liu Linky, although also being noble-born, showed more masculine energy. On the other hand, this woman painting a picture of an educated, gentle, and elegant lady who just came from the library. Special Spirit Root, Wind Spirit Root, pass. Mutant Spirit Root, Thunder Spirit Root, approved. Swiftly, 2 more individuals with mutant spirit roots appeared, causing a wave of amazement. Why on earth hasn't this year sprouted 3 mutant spirit roots? Did they rig this together? As Han Yi watched the Wind Spirit Root and Thunder Spirit Root robed men. Both looked ordinary but had calm expressions as they briskly strutted into the Great Hall. They spared Han Yi no glance. He narrowed his eyes, thinking how extraordinary this year's batch was. At the summit of the mountain peak, in the Supreme Hall, stood a rugged man, dressed in a black dragon robe with a calm demeanor at the doorway. His strong psychic powers made it clear that he was not an ordinary person. As Yun Zuzi, the sect lord, and the great elder personally came to meet him. We apologize for our lack of hospitality upon your sudden visit to the dragon. Sparrow Sect, Immortal Envoy. The rugged man was cold. I have sent you messages for over a year, Sect Lord Yun, only to get vague responses. Or perhaps the Taikang Immortal Mansion has to personally visit you to get the truth. Yun Zuzi gave a light smile. If the Immortal Envoy came for the Heavenly Demon Nether Dragon Scroll, I am sorry, but we do not know its whereabouts. The rugged man snorted. The last place the scroll was seen before it vanished is where your sect made their last attack. How dare you plead ignorance? The demonic sect has been upturned. Demonic paths have been rampant in search of the scroll, causing a big fuss. If we don't control the Heavenly Demon Nether Dragon Scroll, it would cause even greater chaos. The Dragon Sparrow sect should clearly see the situation and not be ignorant. Although you are a first-rate blessed land, you should measure your limitations against beyond heaven. The Taikang Immortal Mansion is one of the 9 great immortal gates. Ruling one of the Taikang heavens of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, their influence was tremendous. I have heard that Zhang Taixu can foresee the future and can reverse misfortune and fortune. He inherited the true immortal Tianjia skills from the Middle Ages, yet why can he not see this demonic threat? The envoy from the Taikang Immortal Mansion looked questioningly at Elder Zhang. Elder Zhang's expression remained unchanged and said without emotion, Immortal Envoy should understand. How powerful the Demon Lord is. The Heavenly Demon Nether Dragon Scroll is the most treasured item of the demonic sect. Many powerful figures from the demonic sects wanted it yet could not find it. You expect me, a man with modest sky-piercing fortune-telling skills, to locate this secret? That's expecting impossibilities. Seeing both of them adamantly denying seeing the demon chart, the immortal envoy could do nothing but leave, giving them a harsh warning. Hey Emph, only the immortal gate can protect this object. You'd better be telling the truth, otherwise not only will the demon path trouble you, but remnants of the demon kingdom and the Baitian demon sect will come after you too. At that time, you'll be signing your own death warrant. After the immortal envoy left the harsh words, he departed in anger. Yun Zuzi watched his retreating figure, his smile fading and seriousness spread across his face. Elder John, now the sect of immortals is also watching us. The other factions from beyond heaven are no easy adversaries either. Is your fortune chart really worry-free? Elder John caressed his divination compass, comforting, Lord, rest assured I will quickly identify the person who will meet the disaster. By that time, even if the powers of the 9 heavens and 10 earths pressure us, it will be useless. This great disaster concerns the entire cultivation world. By then, who will be safe?